What's up, ladies and gents? This is KSigKid coming at you with another Destiny video. Today we're going to have a fun video in store. We're going to look at 3 legendary and popular pulse rifles, the Grasp of Malok, the Hawksaw, and the Nirwens Mercy. We're going to compare these 3 pulse rifles, and we're going to give a verdict on which one is the best, at least as far as my opinion goes. So if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and smack that like button and subscribe to the channel. If you happen to disagree or you think another pulse rifle is better or as good as these ones, feel free to leave it in the comment section below. Always fun to talk about guns, and everybody always has a different opinion no matter what on the gun. So we're going to get into some stats and some numbers on these guns, and it's going to be pretty fun. Now, these are some of the most popular weapons that are in the game right now. You'll see a lot of these going on in the Iron Banner, and Lord Saladin is selling the Nirwens Mercy this week with a really solid roll, so I figure it's the best time of any to delve into all 3 of these weapons. We're going to start off with the Grasp of Malok, and this is actually the fastest firing of all the pulse rifles we're going to show. It has a 77 rate of fire, and because of that, it actually has the lowest impact at 4. With this, the Grasp is going to deal 24 damage per headshot and 16 damage per body shot. A pulse rifle fires off in a burst of 3, so that means that with all headshots, you're going to deal out 72 damage per burst and 48 damage if you hit all body shots. Our magic number is going to be 200. We're going to want to deal out 200 damage to the enemy, and with that, if you hit all headshots in 3 bursts, you'll deal out 216 damage in 0.93 seconds, and that's the fastest time to kill of all these pulse rifles. As far as body shots go, though, with 48 damage per burst of body shots and 4 bursts, you're only going to deal out 192 damage per 4 bursts of body shots, which means that you'll have to fire off a 5th burst from the Grasp of Malok, making the Grasp of Malok the slowest body shot time to kill of all of these weapons, and that's assuming that you hit all of your body shots with all of these weapons. So the one other thing, though, is that if one of those body shots just happens to turn into a headshot whenever you're shooting with the Grasp of Malok, that's actually going to make it so that you can actually 4 burst an enemy, because you'll hit that 200 magic number with that extra damage from the 1 critical hit. So the Grasp of Malok is sitting at the slowest time to kill with body shots at 1.6 seconds, and that's not really good, but like I said, if you can turn just one of those body shots into a headshot, you'll be in pretty decent shape. Now, the one other interesting thing that I found was that this actually kind of comes in 2nd place as far as the range goes, but it's only 1 point shy of the Nirwens Mercy as far as base range, which is really a nice thing. It means that your damage fall off should be a little bit less, and you'll have a little bit more aim assist. But this weapon already has really good aim assist with 82, which is easily the highest of all 3 of these pulse rifles. So the Grasp of Malok is a really solid choice, and it's the fastest that there is. Of course, it comes at the lowest impact, and definitely do not try body shotting with this, because you'll fail, and it won't work out really well for you, and you'll wonder why you can't get this gun working. You really need to get those headshots. You need to get that 24 damage per critical hit if you want to see this thing working at its maximum benefit and maximum use to the wielder. So one other thing we have to keep in mind is, how easy is it to actually get this gun? And the simple answer is not very easy. If Omnigul's the Nightfall, you'll see people are farming and farming and farming for this, because the drop rates are increased, and you really desperately need that. Because you're already going to be fighting the RNG of getting a drop, and then you're going to be fighting the RNG of getting the perks and stats that you actually want. So why not make your life a little bit easier? If you desperately want this gun, hope that Bungie makes Omnigul the Nightfall again soon, because you're really not going to want to even give this an attempt otherwise, that's for sure. So while Grasp may be the most difficult to get, this Hawksaw is probably the easiest, because you can buy it from the Crucible vendor, and that Crucible vendor roll is absolutely amazing. This fires out a slower rate of fire than the Grasp of Malok at 73, but it has pretty much double the impact at 7 compared to 4. What this means is that with each bullet, you're going to deal out 25 headshot damage and 17 body shot damage. So 1 burst is going to be 75 to the head and 51 to the body. For our magic number of 200, with 3 bursts of headshots, you'll deal out 225 damage with all headshots, and 204 damage with all body shots in 4 bursts of body shots. So what this means is that the Hawksaw can take down an enemy pretty much as quick as the Grasp if you're dealing out all headshots, because you don't actually need to hit that 9th headshot in order for the Hawksaw to take down an enemy, which is really nice. Also, that one extra damage point that you get for body shot over the Grasp of Malok lets you 4-burst an enemy reliably with the Hawksaw, but it also makes this the quickest rate of firing gun if you hit all body shots. So if you hit all your body shots, the Hawksaw can take down an enemy in 1.43 seconds, and that is definitely the best of all 3 of these guns. So the Hawksaw has that extra little bonus to it that you don't get with the Grasp or the Nirwens Mercy. Just something to keep in mind, though obviously, headshots are the way to go for all these pulse rifles. You really don't want to be aiming for the body, but if you are hitting body shots and mixing them up in between your headshots, which is definitely going to happen. I mean, let's face it, we are not robots, we're not all going to hit all headshots all the time, and that means that some of these time to kill numbers are going to be just a little bit skewed, because you're really not going to be hitting all headshots all the time. Sometimes you'll get that perfect kill, where you just down an enemy immediately in that 0.93 seconds with all headshots, but that's not going to be the norm, because a lot of times people aren't going to just stand out in the open anyway, and you're not going to get a free shot. You're going to be bouncing around in and out of cover, so just something to keep in mind. The Hawksaw might be the most friendly as far as that if you're hitting all of your shots, and it's a pretty solid gun, though surprisingly it comes with the lowest range and the lowest aim assist of all of these weapons, which really shocked me because I felt like, before looking up the stats, I thought that the Hawksaw was going to have the highest aim assist. I feel like I get the most headshots with this gun of any of the guns here, which is crazy. And aim assist really matters on primary weapons because there definitely is a lot of bullet magnetism on primaries. I know people talk about aim assist on sniper rifles, and that is definitely a subject of debate, but on primaries, it's definitely noticeable. So having a high aim assist on your primary weapon is something that is definitely a very, very desirable stat on your weapon. So we talked about this weapon being easy to come by, and that's because you can just go to the Crucible vendor, you can buy this for your legendary marks, and you can walk away with a god-rolled weapon. And you can't really underscore how awesome that is. Now, some people might say, you know what, that's not a god roll, mine is better, I've got a better one, and it might work out for you. I just happen to really, really love and consider that weapon a god roll vendor weapon. And it definitely is a god roll for me, because the one that I had before, it looked amazing, it had ridiculous stability, but it didn't have counterbalance, and because of that, I wasn't able to use it as good as this one. Some people might love and dig their full auto version. For me, I'm a counterbalance kind of guy. Definitely counterbalance kind of guy. But we're done looking at the Hawksaw, and it's time to start looking at the Nirwens Mercy, which Lord Saladin is selling this week. This is the slowest rate of fire gun of all of them, with 66 rate of fire, but the highest impact at 14. With that, we deal out 29 damage per headshot and 19 damage per body shot. So each burst of 3 bullets deals out 87 headshot damage to the enemy and 57 body shot damage to the enemy. With 3 bursts of headshots, you deal out a whopping 261 damage to the enemy, which is easily overkill of our magic 200 number. So that means that you really only need to hit 7 of those 9 bullets to the head of the enemy to take them down. And with body shot damage, with 4 bursts of body shots, it's 228 damage. Again, that means that you only need to hit 11 body shots instead of 12. And because of this, because of the extra damage that you have with the Nirwens actually has a faster time to kill for body shots than the Grasp does, because you only need to hit 11 of those body shots. But as far as headshots go, this thing is definitely the slowest of all of them, as it comes in at 1 second flat. So if you're hitting all headshots, you're going to kill an enemy in 1 second flat, and that doesn't sound much different from 0.93 seconds. But let me tell you, if you fire off with the Grasp of Malok, and you fire off with the Hawksaw, and then you come to this gun, it's going to feel so incredibly slow and sluggish. And that really matters. And it really matters in a game that's now becoming faster and faster and faster. I think you'll find that you end up getting some more assists than you would with other guns, because you're going to fire off and you're going to deal out some damage, and then somebody else on your team is going to get that glory shot and that final shot, and they're going to take the enemy down, and you're going to see that plus 50 assist come up on your screen. and that's going to kind of stink, and that's going to be a little bit demoralizing, and that might affect your KD a little bit if you're concerned about KD for whatever reason. But yeah, so this is definitely the slowest firing of all of these guns that we've got right here, and because of that, our time to kill is slower overall. So the Nirwens Mercy, it used to be a much better gun. Whenever the Taken King first came out, you were definitely looking for this gun. But as things evolved, and as Bungie continued to nerf things, the fast-firing weapons just became a little bit more favorable because you didn't have to be as perfect. With this gun, you pretty much are aiming for perfection with headshots, and if you're not able to get that, it's going to be tricky to really keep up with other guns that are in the game. And that's what you need to do. Yes, in a vacuum, it sounds amazing to have 7 bullets kill an enemy. But you're not fighting an enemy that doesn't have a gun. And that enemy's going to have a gun that's coming up against you. And because of that, you're going to need to compete with whatever time to kill they have for their gun. So if they've got a Hawksaw or Grasp of Malok, that means that you then compete with a 0.93 second headshot kill when you're going in at 1 second. And you can tell right there, even though it's a small disadvantage, it's still a disadvantage. Despite all of that, you really need to buy the vendor roll that Lord Saladin is selling this week for the Nirwens. You never know when Bungie's going to nerf stuff, and they're going to nerf stuff into the ground, and then this style of pulse rifle becomes the best of all the worst options that are out there for primary weapons. So definitely go pick this thing up, even though it's really not going to come in at number 1 on this list. I'm debating between the Grasp and the Hawksaw as far as which one is actually the best, and I ended up picking the Grasp. And I know this one is the most difficult to get, and I know I made a big deal about the body shot time to kill, but let's get into why I actually feel that the Grasp is going to beat out the other 2 options. Like I said, the Nirwens Mercy just feels too slow. It's just too slow, especially after you've been using these faster rate of firing guns. And fast rate of fire has come into being the meta. And it didn't used to be that. It used to be impact all the way, but not so much anymore. You want to get as many bullets as you can into the enemy, and the Grasp will help you do that, even if it's just a little bit faster than the Hawksaw. The Hawksaw is plenty fast. It fires off a burst every 0.43 seconds, but the Grasp fires off a burst in every 0.4 seconds. Again, we're just nitpicking our rate of fire here, but every little bit counts. And what I want to do is kind of talk about 2 other huge things. And I kind of alluded to it a little bit when we were talking about the Nirwens, and it's what guns other people are using that you're going to go up against. Yes, you're going to be seeing these pulse rifles, but by far, the king of all Crucible is the Mida multi-tool. The Mida multi-tool. You need to be able to compete with this, otherwise you're just not going to have a good time of it. So the Mida is actually going to be faster. If the Mida is hitting all headshots, it's going to be faster than both the Grasp and the Hawksaw, which means that it's easily going to destroy the Nirwens as far as headshots go. So the Mida multi-tool comes in at 0.9 seconds if it hits all 4 of its headshots. And yeah, if you're going up with the Grasp or the Hawksaw against somebody that hits 4 headshots, you're going to lose. But the Mida does have a slower body shotting time, so if they are mixing in some of those body shots, or if they hit all body shots, their body shot time to kill is 1.5 seconds, and that's where you can kind of come out ahead. If you've got that faster rate of fire, you can get a mix of both of these options going in for you and be able to take down Mida users. And with Mida being by far the most used gun in all of 6v6 game mode, you're really going to want to have that option. The Nirwens Mercy really just can't compete with it. It's just not going to be able to get you those kills, especially since the Mida can hit from a range. It can definitely hit from a range. And you also have to look at the Doctrine of Passing and Arminius D style of weapons. Again, these things are just ridiculously fast. If the Doctrine hits you with all headshots, it's 0.8 seconds and you're done. All body shots, it's 1 second. So the Doctrine is ridiculously fast, but you're not going to see people hitting with all headshots with the Doctrine. It's just not really going to happen in the actual standard Crucible that you're seeing. So don't worry about that, but mixing between the headshots and the body shots, it might get you around that time to kill that the Grasp has at 0.93 seconds, and that's something that you can work with. You can't really work with the Nirwens 1 second. That's just not going to work, because a Doctrine user could hit you with all body shots and take you down in that same amount of time. Don't worry about the Grasp having that lowest time to kill as far as body shots go, because like I said, you get one headshot intermixed between those, and you're just fine. You don't have to worry about that 1.6 seconds that it's going to take, because that is probably going to be an outlier and not the standard case for you. So I pick the Grasp as the best of all of these weapons. That might not be a surprise, but let me tell you, it definitely was difficult picking between the Hawksaw and the Grasp. Both are pretty amazing guns. Anyway, guys and gals, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, smack that like button and subscribe to the channel. Check out these awesome videos. Good luck with your raids, your drops, your pulse rifles, and I'll see you around in Destiny. Grasp time.